Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do 2 easy recipes that you can use for brunch or your Easter brunch or any special occasion, Mother's Day, Father's Day, anything. And these are easy and made from cake mixes. So let's go ahead and get started. So here are the ingredients. We're going to start with a white cake mix. You can use any brand that you want. I just happen to choose this one. I have a cup of milk. Now typically I use buttermilk, but I ran out after doing some cake orders. A half a cup of oil, 1 egg, and then I like to use egg whites. So I use approximately 3 egg whites and 1 whole egg in this recipe. And I'm showing you the fruit smoothie. I thought I was showing you the directions. Don't mind me. And then I like to use about a teaspoon of vanilla in that. Like I said, normally I would use buttermilk. However, I ran out, so I did substitute it with half and half because I like it to be something other than water, just to give it some better flavor and make it taste like it's completely homemade. So I went ahead and I put the milk and the oil into the mixing bowl. And then I'm going to add the cake mix as well, but I usually add a couple of splashes of vanilla. I'm really bad about measuring vanilla because I just kind of eye it. So if you want to measure it, I would say it's about a teaspoon. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to add that dry cake mix. So the dry mix is in. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a 1/3 cup of flour to this. I always do that. It was always recommended in our elevation, so that's what I do, and it seems to work fine. I go ahead and I mix this starting out at a low speed so that it doesn't go everywhere in my KitchenAid, and just keep mixing until it's kind of mixed together. And then after that, you're going to want to add your egg whites and your egg to it. I speed it up a little bit, but here we go, adding the egg and the egg whites. I typically add them into a jar. As you can see, my measuring cup today is it's like a spaghetti sauce jar, but I love these spaghetti sauce jars. I think they're Classico because they have measurements on the side of them. So if the one measuring cup I have is dirty, I always pull out my handy dandy jar that has measurements on it as well. You add the egg slowly, so I add the whole egg and then I let it mix a little bit, and then you continue with your egg whites. Let it mix for about a minute, and then what I do is I go ahead, because at least with the KitchenAid mixers, it's really hard. I don't have the scraper utensil, so I have to go in there and kind of scrape the bowl to make sure that everything gets mixed in. So you just want to scrape that bowl, and then you're going to want to remix it. If you are returning watching my channel, thank you so much. I totally appreciate all my subscribers, and thank you for supporting my channel. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell to be notified every time I download a video. Also hit that thumbs up button. It helps my channel to grow, and I'm really trying to get this channel going. I appreciate all of your support. So we are going to continue mixing for another minute after we scrape the bowl. And then I just have I don't know what size this bundt pan is. I got a duo set at Marshall's Home Goods, but I really like it. It's a perfect size. So go ahead and take your spray grease. I like to use the Baker's Secret. There's also Pam, but these work really well because they have the flour right in the spray. You're going to want to coat your pan, I can't talk, very well so that it doesn't stick. Also, I forgot to tell you to set your oven on 350 degrees. That's important. Now, if this is the first time you're making it, I'm sure you were asking that same question. So there is your answer. You want to go ahead and scrape the bowl of all the cake mix, and then I just kind of flatten it out. I like to get every drop, as you can tell. So flatten it out. You're going to want to put it in your oven for 40 to 50 minutes. Make sure you check it at 40 because sometimes it'll trick you and it'll be done. But that's how my oven works. So if yours works a little bit faster, you can, do 30 minutes and start checking it there. But you just want it to be, done in the center. So I just add a skewer inside as I check it to see if it's still wet or not. So now what we're going to do is we are going to make the whipping cream or the whipped cream for our strawberry shortcake cake. I guess I forgot to tell you that that's what we were making in the beginning. It is a strawberry shortcake cake. And while the cake is baking, I am going to go ahead and make my whipped cream. So I use heavy whipping cream. No, I don't measure. I just kind of eye it. So totally up to you. I know that we like a lot of whipped cream, so I try to make extra. Here comes that vanilla again. I add about a teaspoon and a half for flavor. Another alternative is you can add almond extract, but you just want to add a couple drops because it's really strong, or you can add a lemon extract or lemon essential oil, whatever you want. But for our strawberry shortcake, I'm just making vanilla. And then I like to use powdered sugar because it dissolves nicely, and I do not use a ton because I do not like my whipped cream super sweet. So I just kind of sprinkle some in there. If you want, I'd say start with a tablespoon of it and go from there, but that's probably about all I add. I get this going in the mixer at a slow speed and then increase it slowly as everything mixes in, and I just kind of let it go until stiff peaks form. And then while that whipped cream is going, I need to get the strawberries washed and cut up to go into the center of the cake. I have already washed them. I wash them right in their container because there's holes in it, so it just runs through. And then as you can see, I start cutting the strawberries into pieces and putting them in the bowl. I do speed it up here in a second, but I do use all of these strawberries, just dicing them to my preference. Our cake is done. I remove it from the oven, and I have a large plate that I flip it out on. I usually let it cool for about 5 minutes or so, just so I can handle the heat of the plate. Flip it over just like that, hold on to it, and just pull it off slowly, and voila, there you go. There's our beautiful cake. You can see it's still steaming. I have to let it cool a little bit, but it turned out perfect. And I do lose some footage. I don't know what happened. I think I pushed a picture instead of video. So I put the cake back together so I can kind of show you what I did, but I use a serrated knife and I just kind of go through the center until my bundt cake is cut in half. So as you can see, this family-sized strawberry shortcake is coming together nicely. The cake was perfect, so I'm super excited. One thing I did not explain. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry. I thought I missed this. I'm like, how did I miss this? So I did, while the cake is cooling, to the strawberries, I add a few shakes of powdered sugar, and then I have some water on the side. As you can see, I add a little bit at a time. And what I'm doing is I'm just making a juice at the bottom of the strawberries. Now, you can do this sooner. I just didn't have the time, so go ahead and just keep mixing that. Another idea is to add that little dab of almond extract to the strawberries. It's really good, but I did not do that. I just used the water and the sugar. So until you have the amount of juice that you want, just keep adding little tiny bits at a time and stirring. We do not want these swimming in water. We are actually going to use the juice on the cake. So you do not want to have them swimming. And I'm just showing you kind of how much juice I made underneath the strawberries. I do add a little bit more powdered sugar just to give it more of like a syrup texture. I didn't want it super runny, but I also didn't want it super thick. So I just kind of add little shakes at a time. I don't know if that helps you. I am not a good measurer with things, so I just kind of eye it, but keep mixing it until you have the desired amount that you would like. And now our whipped cream is done. I usually make mine a little bit extra stiff. I'm kind of showing you the consistency. I do not want it coming off of my whisk, but if you like yours a little less stiff, just mix it to your desired consistency. Now here's where the juice comes into play. You can see it has that nice pinkish color from the strawberries, and it's almost like a syrup, and I just kind of use that and I just put it on the bottom layer of the cake, and this just kind of gives the cake a little bit more moisture. It's not a dry cake by any means, but it just gives it that little bit of extra flavor by adding this to the cake mix. You do not need to do it to the top. Not the cake mix, to the cake. And you do not need to do it to the top, just the bottom. And here's my absolute favorite part, the whipped cream. Does anybody else like whipped cream as much as I do? I love whipped cream. But you can see how thick it is. It's like a frosting. So it is a pretty thick consistency. Like I said, I don't like it runny. So I just kind of go ahead and in fast motion, I spread some whipped cream, my desired amount, into the center of this cake. If you are enjoying this video thus far, make sure to hit that like button. I really would appreciate it. And also give me some ideas of some things that maybe you would like to see me make. Now remember, I am a DIYer, a crafter, baker. I cook, I do shopping hauls and all kinds of fun things on a budget. I love the Dollar Tree, so you see me a lot there. But let's get back to this. I'm adding strawberries to that layer in fast motion. I put the desired amount that I want, and then I go ahead and I add that top layer of cake once I have done this. And I had cut it kind of cattywampus, kind of crooked, so I was trying to make it match up so that my cake was level. So as you can see, I match those two together, and just like this it looks pretty, but you want to go ahead and finish it off. You can see all the whipped cream and strawberries in the center. Let me just tell you, this cake is really yum yum. It does not last long. So now I'm taking the rest of the whipped cream and I'm putting it into a piping bag. I get these piping bags at Walmart. I do have my own tips, but I like these. These are kind of convenient when I'm in a hurry. They have the tip in them already, and so they're a large piping bag. They're in the baking section, like where the fondant and stuff like that is. You can get those, and like I said, it comes in a pack of 5 or 6, and they're not super expensive, but they work great because they're disposable. So anyway, I take the cake and squeeze that whipped cream till you see it coming out, and then I'm just gonna make my little rosettes with it. Another video that I will link down below is my Nothing Bundt Cake dupe, where you can make something similar, so I will put that down below. But I just go ahead and make all the roses, and these roses came out so pretty. I was very happy with them. As you can see, they're not hard. And then I continue. Now, I don't know what I was thinking, but I do have a spinner for cakes. Why I didn't get it out and I did it all by hand, I don't know. It was just in the moment, I guess. So I did not utilize all the things that I own. But here I am finishing frosting the cake. And the reason I'm using so much is because it's strawberry shortcake. And yes, I do keep some on the side as well, but kind of made it pretty for the holiday or for whatever occasion it is. And here's where we take all of those leftover strawberries. I like to put them right, goodness gracious, in the center of the cake. I try to get it not on the whipped cream, but sometimes they just fall. So anyway, I'm gonna put a big flower on top, so it doesn't matter, but I'm going ahead and using all the rest of the strawberries. I'm trying to keep as much of the juice out as I can because I don't want it to go in there and just get soggy. So go ahead and add your strawberries. And then you're going to want to get the whipped cream, and I just do one big rosette type flower on the top of my cake, and it covers that I can't talk. It covers the center where the strawberries are. There, I got it out. And then I just put a strawberry on top. So anyway, this is it. It is a family sized strawberry shortcake for your Easter brunch or for Mother's Day brunch or any brunch that you have, even if it's for a birthday party or special occasion. So I really, really enjoyed this one. And then, of course, I have my disco dust or edible glitter that I always put on top to make it extra sparkly and pretty. I get my edible glitter on Amazon, so I will go ahead and link that in the description box below so that you can grab your edible glitter as well to make it. You don't even see it in the video. It doesn't give it justice, but it does make it really sparkly and really pretty. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and we are going to move on to recipe number 2. By the way, this cake went to work and it went very quickly. It is one of everybody's favorites, so it was definitely a hit. Now to recipe number 2, we are going to make a coffee cake using a cake mix. This one's a little bit different. I'm making a banana coffee cake because I have bananas to use. I use a yellow cake mix and I use 4 eggs. And then instead of the oil, I am going to use some melted butter, and I'm also using a container of Greek yogurt. Now, if you do not have Greek yogurt, you can use sour cream. Either one works. Also adding my splashes of vanilla, and then I am using half and half in the cake mix. I'm showing you which one I used in place of buttermilk. Like I said, it would be buttermilk if I had that. Then I have 2 ripe bananas that I'm going to use. This is super simple, and I will tell you, yes, you definitely need a cup of coffee with your morning making coffee cake. I was drinking my Mojo. If any of you don't know what that is, I will link that in the description box below. I drink that every day. I actually prefer it iced over warm, but anyway, so here's where I'm showing you that I'm using the melted butter in place of the half cup of oil, and I am using Kerrygold butter, and so it is a salted butter, which I like because it helps kind of get rid of some of the sweetness. I want sweetness in the cake, but I don't want it overly sweet. I'm showing you my jar and its measurements because that's what I'm using again. I have several jars in my house, so it makes it easy. And I'm going to add a cup of the half and half. Again, buttermilk works good. If you don't have half and half or buttermilk, you can use milk. That works just as well. You can use water if you want to. I just prefer to do this. Here is my melted butter in place of the oil, and then I'm just going to add my vanilla, just like in the strawberry shortcake recipe. And then we're going to go ahead and open that cake mix, add it to the bowl, and then yes, we are going to add flour to this as well. My regular, I think with this one I used about a half a cup, maybe 2/3 of a cup. And the reason for that is because of all the moisture that I'm adding to this cake. This is some cinnamon that I'm adding, and I add quite a bit. I would say probably a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, depending on what you like. Here's where I add the Greek yogurt. This was I think it was a honey vanilla, or it was a vanilla bean Greek yogurt. It's by Chobani, but I like to add that in there as well. Then you do the same as you did before. You go ahead and you mix that cake, and then you're going to scrape the bowl in between. Before I scrape the bowl, I am going to add my 2 very ripe bananas. And again, I forgot to tell you, the oven should be set on 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm adding just pieces of those bananas in there and mixing them well. You can pre-mix them if you want, but these were pretty soft, so I knew that they would mix right into the cake. Now we are going to add our eggs. This is 4 eggs in a jar. I do this to prevent from getting shells in my eggs, because I have been known a time or two to get a shell in my cake. And so I find it easier if I just go ahead and throw it in the cup that I used for my milk. So one at a time at a low to medium speed. Add those, and then you're going to want to turn it up a little bit and go for a minute. Now it's time to scrape the bowl. You want to really scrape it good if you're using a KitchenAid mixer, because sometimes the dry ingredients end up at the bottom of the bowl and you really need to try to mix those in there well. So I scrape it like I always do, and then I go ahead and I turn it back on for about a minute on medium speed and just let it mix up. And now we want to make that cinnamon crumb topping, but I also put it in the center. I am going to use some graham cracker crumbs. I use approximately a half a cup of the graham cracker crumbs, as well as a half a cup of flour. And I use about a third cup, I believe it was a third cup. Yeah, a third cup of packed brown sugar. You can add more brown sugar than that if you like. That's just what I decided to do. I'm also adding some cinnamon, just to whatever your taste buds desire. Go ahead and mix that in there, or just shake it in there. Is that better? We're not mixing it yet. We're getting ready to mix it though. I finally open it because I get frustrated with it. I actually get this cinnamon at the dollar store. They have some great spices there, and cinnamon is just one of those things I just pick up when I go there because I do not like to run out. So anyway, we're going to use a fork and we're going to mix this all together. And we do have some melted butter on the side because we're going to add that once we get this fully mixed. Now we are adding that melted butter. I believe I used about 2 tablespoons. You can use less or more depending on how you like your crumble to be. Again, I'm using the Kerrygold salted butter. That kind of throws off some of the sweetness or balances out the sweetness. I think that's the word I've been looking for. So you just kind of mix it in there and you just keep mixing. Of course, I'm mixing really fast here. And I meant to do it this time, you guys. I did not accidentally hit the button that speeds it up. I did this on purpose. Are you impressed? Because I'm impressed with myself. Anyway, I mix it up until I get the desired consistency. You don't want it smooth. You want it kind of rough, crumbly. So there it is. If it's too wet, add more dry ingredients. If it's too dry, add a little bit more melted butter. Again, using the same technique, we're going to spray the bundt pan with my baker's spray. Coat it well so that nothing sticks. And here is where I make my mistake, and I could not fix it until the end of the video almost. So once you do this to the pan, you can see that I automatically go and pour cake mix in. Well, I forgot to put the crumble on top. I don't know why, but I did. So before you pour the cake mix into the bundt pan, coat or sprinkle the bottom with your cinnamon mixture, your crumb topping. Now that's one way you can do it. Then you add cake mix. I'm going to tell you now, and we'll finish it later, but you add your cake mix, and then you're going to take, once you get like half of it, get it about halfway, that's when I go in and I add some more of the crumble into the center of the cake, because you definitely want a layer of that in there. Can do as much or as little as you want. You can see how much I did. Once you get that in there all the way around, this is when you're going to want to add the remaining cake mix into the pan. Now, I had enough with this recipe that I could create another type of thing for the brunch or breakfast or whatever. But anyway, go ahead and get it about 3/4 full. If you have leftover mix like I do, I will show you what to do with it, or you can actually do that on its own. So we're going to add that in there. I kind of even it out, and then it's going to go in that oven, 350 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes, depending on your oven. So like I said, start checking it at about 35 minutes and go from there. But it does turn out great. I think I had to cook mine for 45 to 50 minutes, but you don't want to overcook it. That's why I say check it often. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stick this in the oven, and this is where the extra cake mix is going to come in, because what I do is I just get my small pan because I know I don't have a lot. This is my Dollar Tree muffin tin. I get these really pretty wrappers. I get these on Amazon. I will link those in the description box below. I love them. They're just so pretty and cute, and you can bake right in them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the cake mix, kind of like I did with the bundt cake. I'm going to add, well, these are actually cake batter measuring spoons. I think I got them at Walmart. You can also get them at Michael's, or I'm sure you can get them on Amazon as well. I put a scoop of the cake mix, and then just like the cake, I'm going to add some of the cinnamon crumble in the center before I top it with more cake mix. I wanted to also show you that you can do it with mini muffins as well. So I had these really cute little mini muffin liners. They're kind of stiff on their own, so I was able to stick them in a standard muffin cup, but it's probably better to have a mini muffin pan. That way, you know, it comes out the right way. So as you will see here, as soon as I'm done topping my cupcakes, that I go ahead and I do two small mini versions of this cake as well. So these are smaller, so you definitely want to use half the mix, if not a third less of the mix that you used with the larger cupcakes, because these are small. And I am trying to layer them just like I do the other ones, with a little bit of the crumble. And then I do believe that I add a little bit more cake mix on top. Yes, I do, I believe. I'm watching as I'm doing this voiceover. Yes, I add more on top. So I do it exactly the same. So you just want to make sure that you don't overfill them. And then I'm going to add some crumble on top. I stick these in the oven, and because I watch the oven so much, I know when to like keep looking, but I put them in, I believe, for 10 minutes on 350. I kept wanting to check the smaller ones because I pulled those out first, obviously. I believe they took about 12 minutes for the small ones and about 15 minutes for the large ones, but just set your timer on 10 minutes and check them from there. That's what I did, and I just removed the smaller ones when they were done and then baked the larger ones longer. Time to pull the full-size coffee cake, bundt cake out of the oven. As you can see, there's some crumble there. I like that to have it on the bottom, and this is where I'm going to show you how I fixed the top with my crumble, and it actually worked out great. So I ended up having to flip the cake over because it was, as you can see, the pan's hot. So I had to flip it over onto a plate while the bundt pan was still warm, or, you know, it was still hot. I didn't leave it in there more than like 3 minutes before I flipped it. And then you go ahead and you remove that, which I have fingernails, so I didn't burn myself, and just used my fingernails as a way to lift it. The cake is steaming. And at this point, I go ahead and I add crumb topping to the top, and then I realize, well, this isn't sticking very well. So I add crumb to the top, and then what I do is I take that hot, warm pan and I stuck it right back over the cake, as you will see in a minute. And I let it sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes or until the cake pan cooled, and it made my crumb mixture stick, which was really nice. So it still turned out just as good as if I had started in the beginning, putting it at the bottom of the pan before the cake mix. But this worked as well. So if you're like me and you have a dingy moment and you forget to put your crumb in, you can do your crumb at the end. I promise we can make it work. So here's for the reveal. After about 5 minutes, I took it off, and as you can see, it sticks very nicely. This cake was delectable, especially if you stuck it in the microwave for about 10 seconds and heated it up. So it's perfect for brunch. It can be a dessert as well. It was super, super yummy. And here are the cupcakes and the mini ones. So we have mini muffins and large muffins, which are also a great alternative to using this recipe. So these were super cute, super delicious. My husband ate them all. He loved them and said, you need to make that again. My secret is he doesn't even like banana bread, so he didn't even know that there were bananas in it. But here they are together. And if you're looking at that cute garland that I have, that was from Hobby Lobby. You can check that out in my video. I'll link that in the description box below. My Hobby Lobby shopping haul, that's where I got the cute garland, and it was very, very inexpensive. So here they are. I want to thank you for watching as always. I totally appreciate each and every one of you that support my channel. I hope you got some good ideas from these box cake recipes. As I said before, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and that like button to help my channel to grow. I hope everyone has a happy and safe Easter. God bless, and thank you for watching.